the west of us, you can see him.
Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room Show here on Fox 67. This week is a special tribute show to Bob Arnzen, former Blue Jay head coach at Delphos St. John's. Bob was the head coach at Delphos St. John's for 43 years, and as the time we are filming this here at the Fawcett Center in Columbus, Bob is going to be inducted into the Ohio High School Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame. This is on a Saturday night, again at the Fawcett Center here in Columbus. Fox 67 paying tribute to a good friend of ours, and of course a friend to a lot of people in the state of Ohio, Bob Arnzen of Delphos St. John's. Bob finished his career with 676 wins and only 291 losses in his career. And that, of course, is 20 short of Paul Walker's Ohio record. We could go on and on about Bob's accomplishments, but as a lot of you know, his teams won a state title in the year 1983. They were runners-up in 1954 and also in 1973, and they were semifinalists in 1982 and 1990. What we're going to be doing tonight here at the Fawcett Center, we're going to be talking to Bob Arnzen as he is getting ready to accept his award into the Hall of Fame, and also we're going to talk to some of the other coaches from around the state of Ohio, especially from our area, about some of the memories that they've shared with Bob Arnzen, and also we'll talk to some of his close friends as well from the Delphos area and the Tri-County area as well. We'll have all that for you coming up on the Locker Room Show here from the Fawcett Center live at Ohio State University in Columbus. We'll be back right after these messages. Separates a guy like Bob Arnzen from some of the other coaches, not around the state, but just around the state of Ohio, but around the nation. You look at a guy like this who's coached at one school for 43 years and was successful.
Well, he just has a great air about himself and a tremendous philosophy, and to him it was all about kids and their development. And you know, he had all the great traits. He was firm, but he knew how to handle players. Players loved him, and I just can summarize it by saying that he always put the athlete first, and I think there are a lot of coaches that make that mistake and get things out of the order that they should be in.
Right, and as a former coach yourself, a lot of coaches worry about those wins and losses, and that seems like something Bob really never concentrated on.
No, I don't think he did. That takes care of itself if you're good at what you do, and he was good at what he did, and he never paid a whole lot of attention to that, and wins certainly came. He was I know as a young college coach, I went to clinics where he was a speaker, and I learned from him. I think any of us in the business learned from him. I followed Bob by 4 years. He graduated at Dayton about the time that I came in, so he was my senior, and just a guy that I greatly admired, and a fellow I'm glad to call a good friend.
Moments with Bob through the years?
Well, no, I went up there and played him once. When I was at Springfield South, I had a pretty good ball club, and he kicked my butt. I never did appreciate that, but I love to play people like that. And, you know, I guess probably Bob and I are from the, what do you say, the old school. The game's on. We're total enemies at that time. The game's over. Let's go out and have a Coke or a beer or whatever you want, and see you again next year, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, the longevity part for Bob, 43 years at the same school, that's almost unheard of anymore in high school, college, or whatever level.
It's unbelievable, especially with all the pressure today for winning, and the pressure from parents and boosters clubs and so forth. And I know I don't have anywhere near that. I had 23 years and had no problems at Springfield South, but 43 years, I don't think you'll ever see another coach be anywhere 43 years.
How about a special memory that you share with Bob Arnzen?
Well, a special memory that wish would have turned out a little bit different for the Colorado Wildcats was back in the early 80s. We had won the state in 1981, and then we had a real nice group coming back, and we met the Blue Jays under Coach Bob twice at the Elida Fieldhouse there, and we lost both times by 2 points. So that's something I can remember a long time.
You know, every time I talk to Bob about some of his special memories too, he seems to mention those games as well.
It seems like those losses have a way of standing out a little bit more than the wins, but you know, what can we say? We've had great situations. You know, we've had great kids. We won a lot of ball games, but yet at the same time, that's one of the more special memories I had. Plus the fact that I kind of wanted Coach to hang in there a little bit longer, because I would have loved to see him become the winningest coach in Ohio high school basketball coaching history, because I think he's the man to do it. I really respect him.
From a player's perspective, Gene, going back to the 1960s when you played for Bob, does anything stand out in your mind about Bob Arnzen as your coach?
Well, I think from my standpoint, being a basketball player, you know, that's where I got my start. You know, I was around him a whole bunch, a lot of times when I was young and grew up, and Bob was always out at the park, and I was out at the park, and so I got to know him when I was a very young person, and then grew up into the program. So I have a lot of fond memories of Coach.
Dan Rupert is now the principal of Lima Central Catholic High School, also a graduate of Delphos St. John's, 1961, and I'm sure, Dan, that you have a special moment or moments you've shared with Bob.
I've had a lot of moments, Carl. It's hard to think of just one particular one, but what always impressed me about Bob was his ability to enjoy basketball and yet to keep it in the proper framework that it belonged, so that it was a game. It was always a lot of fun, and I think that's why there are so many of his friends here today. I mean, we worked hard at basketball, but we knew it was a game, and we were in it to try to help the kids.
Good friend of mine, Gip Pullman. Gip, how you doing? Gip is a former player as well for Bob Arnzen, but you're also one of the coaches down through the ranks helping Bob out. And boy, Gip, I'm kind of worries me a little bit to ask you about a special memory with Bob, but you probably had a lot of them.
Had a few of them, Carl. A few memories. You looking for the good ones, imagine?
Yeah, usually.
I'll tell you what, when he came, I was in the 8th grade, been a few years ago. Enjoyed every minute of basketball, enjoyed coaching with him, but really enjoyed having him as a friend.
How about the role that he played for you as a role model when you were growing up, Gip, not only as a basketball coach, but he probably took a lot of the things that Bob taught you as a coach and as a teacher off the court to help shape what you have done in your adult life as well.
Well, he did. He really taught us how to win, but he taught us if we lost, how to act after we did lose, and he taught us about life. And really, as we went on in the coaching thing, I had the opportunity to coach with him. He was a tremendous guy. Couldn't say enough good about him, just a great guy.
Bring in Don Heisman. Don, it's good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Carl.
Don is the athletic director of Delphos St. John's. How long now, Don?
This is my 11th year, Carl, as AD.
And of course, you shared a lot of time with Bob, working on schedules, working on referees, and all kinds of things. What kind of stands out in your mind most about Bob Arnzen, Don?
Just the class gentleman that he is, and what a role model he was, and just everything he did was just outstanding, and everything was first rate. I admire Bob for he never backed away from any team. He was always willing to play the toughest teams. He wanted to play the tough teams, and I think it just made his program better and made it recognized throughout the state for what it is.
I think one other thing, Don, that I'm sure you're happy about as the years go on here is that a guy like Bob Arnzen not only made a name for himself, but I think now when you hear Delphos St. John's and you hear Bob Arnzen, it's almost synonymous, and it means a lot to the city of Delphos.
Yeah, it sure does. I still can't believe that he was retired, because whenever you think of Bob Arnzen, you think of Delphos St. John's and Delphos St. John's basketball, and it is a different situation without him around every day.
And you shared a special moment the day that Bob said that he wasn't going to be back the next year, right?
Boy, that was a terrible day as far as I was concerned. I was in shock because we were fully expecting him to be back for at least one more year, and he made up his mind, and that was it. But that's the way he said he was going to do it, and he did it that way.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Carl.
Don Heisman, athletic director for Delphos St. John's, and George Adams. Hi, George. It's good to see you again. Good. This is George Adams, who's a principal at Delphos St. John's, and what we're doing, George, just some special memories maybe, and you shared a lot of them, a lot of years with Bob. Anything kind of stand out in your mind?
Well, I think a lot of things that stood out. We've worked together the last 25 years. One of the things about it, a great role model for the kids, and you know, as a teacher and one who worked with the students is the kind of person that you want in high school to work with the young people that we have in the schools. And then as a coach, just you can't say any more since we're here tonight celebrating the honor that's he's going to receive tonight, being in a Hall of Fame, and just a great guy, great man who deserved all the accolades that he receives now. And he's one of those people that we always kid him. I mean, when he retired, we said he'd never last, and after 43 years, he had to hang it up. So, we knew he'd never last. But
how about some special memories with Bob?
Well, Bob was one of those people that when we started the girls program back in the early 70s, and I came along about 76, that he was real supportive of. And that was kind of uncommon in those days. There was a real threat, I think, to the boys programs at that time, that the gyms were going to have to be shared and things of that type. Bob didn't see it that way. Bob entered it from a different area in a different direction, and I think that's one of the reasons, without question, that we were as good as we were.
And you had a few games that you had to coach against Bob Arnzen in your day. Any special? No, wait. I know there's a lot of special memories that you share with Bob off the court, but how about on the court?
On the court, I think the first thing I remember is the first year we competed against each other. Jimmy Arnzen was my assistant, and we had a pretty average ball team, and Delphos was very good, so we slowed it down. And Delphos had Alan Quartercrafts and the Shoemaker kid at point guard, and the score ended up 36-33. And when Bob and Jimmy shook hands at the end of the game, Bob told Jimmy that they ought to refund the Delphos people money. The Delphos people were a little irate because we slowed it down.
Mark Canott, who is the former head basketball coach at Ottoville High School. And Mark, you also helped Bob during his camps during the summer, so you know Bob pretty well. Any special memories in terms of when you coached at Ottoville and had to face Bob Arnzen and the Blue Jays?
Well, Carl, I had one opportunity as my second year as a head coach, and we played Bob in the sectional at Van Wert, and I had Terry Snipke really sticks out in my mind. He was my point guard for me. He averaged about 3-4 points a game, and Terry had a career night. He scored 22 points. We beat Bob's team by 8 or 10 points, and I was just nervous as could be before the game because I've worked Bob's basketball camp for 15 years, and we've really been good friends. I went to school with Jim at Defiance College. We roomed together my senior year, and it was just a unique and really great experience I've had with Bob.
Are you saying you're 1-0 against Bob Arnzen?
Yeah, I keep telling Bob and JJ and a couple of the other coaches. I think I might be one of the few coaches, if the only coach in the state of Ohio, that's undefeated against Bob Arnzen.
I'm sure you let him know about that too.
Well, we get together after the end of basketball camp. We get together at our local place, and we always remind him of that.
What about your relationship with Bob? Any memories?
Oh, yes. I've known Bob, like a lot of people, for a number of years, and just a tremendous, tremendous person. Let's even forget about all his victories. I mean, we know how many he's won, and he's a legend in basketball, but just the man himself. He's just an outstanding personality, and I have a youngster that now is, in his mid-30s, but did play ball, but I would think if I had to do it over again and he could play for someone like Coach Arnzen, that would be a real big thrill for me.
Of course, you look at Bob, 43 years in coaching, the Bob Arnzen Longevity Award now being awarded to a bunch of coaches around the state of Ohio, and it's just great, Claire, that an event like this can be put together to honor the coaches who have, and I think the important thing is we keep talking about wins and losses, and you mentioned maybe that's not what we should talk about, but it's the things that those coaches do off the court.
Oh, yes, and we're all about values. I've said many times that sportsmanship, ethics, and integrity, that's what athletics is really about. I think wins and losses, the wins are fine. That's kind of a byproduct of it. What we're looking for is individuals like you're going to see be inducted here tonight, like Coach Arnzen. It's more than wins.
Talking now to the family, some of the family members of the Arnzen family, of course, Jim Arnzen, who also played for his dad at Delphos St. John's, his lovely wife Alice, and his son Ted as well. Alice, how about you first of all? Any special memories? All these years, you go back 43 years with Bob. Anything kind of stand out in your mind?
Oh, definitely. The one that stands out most is 1976, when Jim played with the 76ers, as they called themselves, and they went through an undefeated season. It was the most exciting game when we played our last home game, and it was undefeated, and we were all excited that year about going through in the tournament. And probably the most disappointing time I ever had in my whole life was our second game in the tournament that year, when we lost to an underdog, St. Mary's. And then recently I found out that Jeff Easton at Shawnee played played on that team. And for a while, I had to think that over, whether he was still my friend.
How about you, Jim? Either as a player for your dad or Bob as your father?
Well, the wins and losses, which are the credentials that get him into the Hall of Fame, to me are just a small part of what the big party tonight is all about. I remember all the good times after ball games, whether they be winning or losing, and anticipation of going down the tournament trail. I remember when I was a kid, and then as a player, and then as an adult. Those are the things that I think people think are special about Dad, is how he handled all the things involved with basketball other than the ball game. So I think that's the real honor that's taking place tonight.
What did it feel like playing for your dad?
I loved it. We had a good team. I had a lot of good teammates. Really feel special my sophomore year when the seniors that were on the team really took to me and accepted me, which doesn't always happen. But playing for him was special, and growing up a Blue Jay, just being a Blue Jay was special. And it was 3 years that I know were special for Dad and Mom and the rest of the family. And you know, that seems like a long time ago, but they were good years.
How about you, Ted? Any special memories?
76 was a long time ago, Jim. I was in the 6th grade then. It was neat watching Dad get up for game night. He would get all fired up and he'd be ready to go for game night, and it was neat seeing that. But like Jim was saying, the games were important to him, but more importantly, the association that went along with the game, all the people that he knows, and the friendships. You walk down a hallway with him, and he stops, and you get introduced to 10 or 15 new people along the way.
I know how that
is. And that's the part that's kind of neat, the respect he's gotten from the area people in the community.
This is to certify that Bob Arnzen was duly inducted into the High School Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame this 8th day of April, 1995. Congratulations, Bob.
I'm setting my watch for 10 minutes.
Okay. I won't tug.
Jim, I don't know how much money I promised to pay you for that, but I'll pay you immediately when we get out of here tonight. I appreciate that. This is a great night. It's really neat to see all the people that are in here, not just the people that from the Delphos area. I've been coming to these for a long time, and I think this is the biggest crowd we've ever had, so we really appreciate that. I'd like to start out by wishing happy birthday to 2 of our good Delphosonians. Don Grotehouse, I won't tell you how old he is. Don was a scorekeeper for us for over 35 years. Don, put your hand up there. I'm getting a fist from a great big guy, but he can't get up here to get to me right now. Dean Holgrave, one of my former players, and coached with me for 15 to 20 years. Dean Holgrave. I'd like to welcome all the fellow Hall of Famers that are here tonight, and congratulations to all of my classmates, I guess we call them, going in here tonight, the class of 95. I coached against 2 of these guys in the years I coached. Dale Reichenbach was at Grand Rapids in 1952, long before some of you people in here were born. But they were state champs in 1951. And it was my 2nd year of coaching, and I had no idea if I could coach or I couldn't coach. And we beat Grand Rapids, and that was the first, I think, big victory of my coaching career. The other one is Butch Rossi. Tough loss to Butch. We played Butch in 1982 in the first game of the state tournament, and they beat us 42-40. I've never held that against Butch, but I still hate him. And, but he's a great guy. I got a lot of people tonight I'm going to thank, and I don't think I would be here enjoying this night if it weren't for a lot of these people. So I'd like to share any honors that I got tonight or any other night that I got them with this group of people that I'm going to recognize tonight. I'd like to thank all my assistant coaches over the years. They stuck with me, a lot of them. Skip Pullman back here, almost 40 years. Player of mine first, and then a coach. He quit when I quit. We had 1 meeting a year. That was about a week before the season started. And I had to pull, like pulling teeth to get him to come in and have that meeting. But I'd get down there, and our meeting would last about 5 minutes. I'd find out
when you want to start your 7th grade team, when you want to start your 8th grade, how you guys going to work it, which times you're going to practice. And all of a sudden, the big guy, Gip, would say, let's deal them. So the cards came out. We played poker for the rest of the night. That was so much for our coaches meeting for the year. So I think, truthfully, I lost all these guys as coaches if we'd had more than a 5-minute meeting. I think that's as long as it could have lasted. Guys, I appreciate all your help. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be here without your help. I mean that. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the former principals. Started off with Father Herr, God have mercy on him. He's a guy that hired me in Delphos. It goes on through George Adams. George is here tonight. They let me do my thing as a coach. I didn't try to step on any feet. I don't mean that. But they were so supportive of everything I ever wanted to do. I appreciate that. Thanks to all the former superintendents. It started with Monsignor Reinig many years ago. It goes down to Father Pfeiffer, who is here tonight. I hear so many stories about principals and superintendents that they're always on the coach. I can never say that ever happened to me. I would never lasted this long if it would have. My skin would not have taken that. I'd like to thank a couple of former ADs, Fran Bull and Don Heisman. So much cooperation. When we went to play a game, everything was ready. Guys, I really appreciate that. It was really neat. Thanks to all the friends in Delphos, many of them up here tonight. You were supportive. Couldn't ask for any better support. If you want to see a good ball game sometime with a lot of activity, come and watch the Blue Jays play in Delphos, a home game, and watch the support that the fans give to the players. A couple of these guys have been here. Jim, you forgot playing Newark. Kerry Walters has been in Delphos. Talk to him afterwards. I'd like to thank a lot of my coaching colleagues, guys that I belong to the Ohio High School Basketball Coaches Association with, guys have been on an officer in the association, guys from District 8. I appreciate you guys putting up with me. I was much older than most of the guys, and you accepted me for me, and I really appreciate it. The only thing I didn't appreciate was when I'd start telling some stories about games in the 50s, 1950s, and they shut me off right now and say, well, I wasn't even born then. So, so I appreciate all that. I appreciate the camaraderie I had with the coaches in the state of Ohio. I'd like to thank my family, my wife, Alice, and all the kids. Alice's family, my family. I'll never forget, first year I got married, we lost a tough game on a Friday night and Saturday night. And I went down to Ottoville on Sunday afternoon to eat lunch with my mother and father-in-law. And my father-in-law wasn't just a whole lot of a basketball fan. He's a great guy, but not a whole lot of a basketball fan. And I was kind of moody, hit my chin down a little bit, and Pop says, hey, what's the matter? We lost a tough one last night. Oh, he goes, oh, yeah. You gonna be like that all day? He said, just remember one thing. Somebody's got to win, and somebody's got to lose. That was the closest I ever came to thinking about divorcing my wife. I thought, man, if I'm going to have to put up with that for all these years. But you know what? He was right. He was right. That was probably the greatest training that I ever had, because I learned how to bury a Friday night or a Saturday night loss. By noontime the next day, 10 o'clock the next morning, whatever it was, that game was over with, and we were going to get ready to play the next ball game. And I think that came from Alice's dad. He taught me that a long time ago. I'd like to introduce some members of my family. I'd like for them to stand. Alice's brothers and sisters and their husbands and wife sitting over here. How about stand, all of you? My nieces and nephews, would you stand? All of you, and their wives. They're a bunch of good hillbillies from down in northern Kentucky. My sister Marg and her husband Larry. They're from Covington, Kentucky. And my kids who put up with their old man. Elaine Sheehan and her husband, Pat. Pat's back here. Daughter Maria. My son, Jim, who was just up here. And his wife, Mary, couldn't come because I'm expecting to be a grandpa this Wednesday. So she couldn't come. Jeannie Gulick and her husband, Jim. And my son, Ted. And thanks to all of them, because I know there were many times when I was out coaching basketball or working out in the park that I didn't have time for a lot of things they were doing. I really appreciate the support you gave me, and the support they're still giving me. Special thanks to my head coach, Alice. She's always been my head coach, and you know, she gave me the time to do things that I think were necessary to do to be a coach. Some people can get a lot of things done faster than other people, and it took me a lot of time to get them done. So I really appreciate that, and I love you for it, and I appreciate it. In closing, I'd just like to say that thanks to all the coaches I've ever been associated with. If you're a parent of a kid, be tolerant. Be tolerant of a coach. I'll guarantee you 99 2/3% of them are great guys. I don't know a coach yet that lost a game. I don't know a coach that won a game either. It's the players that hit that floor that win the games and lose the games. If you can give a coach support, give him all the support you can. Don't let people sit around the community and badmouth that guy. Sometimes follow him around for about a week and see the hours he puts in. Coaches, keep working at it. Keep doing a great job that you're doing today. Thank you very much.
We hope you've enjoyed our tribute to Bob Arnzen, who is being inducted in the Ohio High School Athletic Association Coaches Hall of Fame. By this time, obviously, he has already been inducted. On behalf of everyone at Fox 67, we would like to congratulate Bob Arnzen on the great achievements he had during his basketball coaching career on the floor and, of course, off the court as well. I'd like to thank all the guests who joined us for some of the moments that they've shared with Bob Arnzen throughout the years. We really appreciate that as well. Hope you enjoyed this edition of the Locker Room Show. See you next week here on Fox 67 WOHL.
Presenting Bob Arnzen will be Jim Arnzen. Jim, if you'd come up, please.
It's quite an honor to be asked to present my dad tonight as he goes into the Ohio High School Athletic Hall of Fame. And earlier in the week, I called a good friend of Dad's, who our family's known for quite a few years, Ray Etzler, who normally attends these, and I said, what type of format should I use when I introduce Dad? And he said, hey, I don't know what to tell you. He said, I wouldn't know where to begin with a man like your dad when it comes to introducing him to a group for the Hall of Fame. And I said, well, thanks a lot. So I started jotting some notes down and went from there. I've kind of been in a unique situation as I look out at some of the people that are here. Some of you are former players that played for Dad, and so was I. Some of you are people who coached against my dad over the years, and so was I. Some of you were people who were part of the recreation program in Delphos growing up, what he was a big part of, and so was I. A lot of you came because you were Blue Jay fans, and when I lived in Delphos, there wasn't a game that I missed for many, many years, so I'm a big Blue Jay fan, and to this day, the first thing I do on Saturday mornings is read the newspaper, and if Delphos won that day, then it's a better day. And a lot of family here, and obviously that's been a big part of his success. In the last 11 years of coaching at the college level myself, as I get around the state of Ohio, the most common question when people find out that I'm Coach Arnzen's son is how did he do that for all those years, and what made him so successful? And it's not the easiest question in the world to answer, but there are a few things I think that made that puzzle fit together as well as it did. And the very first one on the list is family. And a lot of the family are here, and when I mention family, I'm speaking of not just sons and daughters, but aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews, and then all of a sudden grandkids. Friday nights when Delphos played was an event. Very seldom did a game go by where we didn't have people from out of town coming in, and the relatives in the area were all at the game, home and away, and that was a big part. The game itself was the small part of what took place on Friday nights. I think what allowed him to coach for as many years as he did, a big part of that puzzle was his diversity. He was not all basketball. He coached baseball, he coached cross country, he coached football. He did a little bit of everything, and he left his mark in Delphos in a lot of ways other than just basketball. And I think that's the reason the respect that the people in Delphos have for him is what it is. Along with running the recreation program for a lot of years in Delphos, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who could say, well, he taught me how to swim, or he taught me how to drive, and he taught me how to play tennis, and he taught me a lot of things. For a lot of years, he was a regular 1 night a week or 2 night a week bowler right through basketball season, and as a coach myself, I don't know how he found time for that, but that was a big part of what he was. And to be an educator for all the years that he was, and the loyalty he had to the Catholic education at Delphos St. John's and to all the priests and sisters is all part of the puzzle. As I go into a lot of games as a coach myself, and I'm sure a lot of you coaches out there can relate to this, too often I think we take the sideline hoping we don't lose that night. And I think for the 43 years he coached, there was no fear of failure. And I think that helped keep things at an even keel. And I think the reason there wasn't any fear of failure because he never put himself in a position where that was a great big game. There was never any win that was a huge win. There was never a loss that was a huge loss. Although every time I go back to Delphos, they remind me of a loss they say was huge. And I was on the team. So I guess that was a pretty huge loss, a game I played in the tournament when I was a senior. And it was a disappointing night. At the same time, it was a night I learned something. Up until that time, when I was 17 years old, I thought he was perfect. And that night, we were feeling terrible. There was a lot of hurt. And he said, "Don't worry, Jim." He said, "The sun will come up tomorrow morning." And for the next 10 days, it rained. And so that was a good lesson right there for me. I think the loyalty, staying in one place all those years when that wasn't his home, Newport, Kentucky was his home, is something that just doesn't happen anymore. He had great loyalty from his bosses that he had over the years, his players, the fans, his staff, and a lot of those are here today, and that's really neat to see. Very seldom as a coach do I sit down and talk to him about, how'd you attack a zone or how'd you attack a press. He obviously knew all those things, but the big part of what he did was his motivation and getting his players to play hard and being able to be a small school and play teams like Dayton Dunbar and Toledo Central Catholic, Columbus East, Springfield, and thinking you should win. He had a unique way of getting people to do that, and he did it through generation and decades, And I don't know how, I don't know how he was able to adjust to all the changes, but he did. And probably the biggest piece of the puzzle is he was a very tough competitor. And when it was time to get mean and nasty, he could. But when that was over, it was time to move on to some other things. And that's where a lot of the stories that the former players, all of us share, deal with all those unique times when things got a little bit intense in practice or in ball games. But those are a lot of the fun things that took place. He kept it in the perspective, very humble. Everybody in Delphos thinks he's a great friend of theirs. The success he had never separated him from the rest of the community, whether it was a little kid who he drove to school in the mornings or some of the community leaders, and they've stuck by him through that years as he didn't get any big-time syndrome. His record and longevity, is incredible. That's the Hall of Fame stuff, but I really believe the reason a lot of the people came here tonight is more than the numbers. The numbers are just a very, very small part of the legacy and the mystique that goes with him. It's all the other things that went into it. So I'm very proud at this time to introduce to all of you in the newest class of Hall of Fame members, a true living legend in Delphos, and my dad, Bob Arnzen.
Certify that Bob Arnzen was duly inducted into the High School Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame this 8th day of April, 1995. Congratulations, Bob.
I'm setting my watch for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Let's go.
Who's on second? realize that some of you are still finishing your meal, for the sake of time and to make sure our honored guests receive their recognition, we're going to go ahead and begin. To begin with, I'd like to welcome everybody to the 9th Annual Hall of Fame Banquet, and to further welcome our guest, David Krause, First Vice President of High School Basketball Coach Association.
Good evening. Welcome to this 9th Annual Hall of Fame Banquet. A special welcome to the soon-to-be inducted 9th class, and on top of that, most of them probably drove the bus as well, so that's impressive. I'd like to introduce some of our directors who are with us tonight. This is the backbone of our association. Our association is 3,100 members strong across the state of Ohio. It's one of the largest state associations in the nation. We're very proud of that fact. Second Vice President from Dover High School, Bob Arnzen, stand. Also our Executive Secretary, Wayne Wiseman from Springfield. Assistant Secretary, Mr. Bob Arnzen, who tonight is in a very different situation. Our first past President, Joe Petroselli from Kettering Alder, and the second Vice President, Gary Waters from Newark, serving as Toastmaster. District Directors, Bob Walsh from District 3, Vermillion High School, in the corner. Larry Wilson, District 4 from Perry High School. Paul Wayne from Holgate High School, District 7. District 8, Rick Briegel from Findlay. District 9, Tom Reddick from Tippecanoe. District 12, Mark Huffman from Monroe Central. District 16, Bill Fisher from Princeton High School. Some other people who are special in our association, Fred Erfurt, the North-South. Tonight is in a very different
distinctive good looks for years. For extra durability, a special gel coating is also added. To continuously coordinate all of this, a total quality team was created. They devise methods for building total quality into every step of the production process, and to do the job right the first time, every time. Tailgate sessions are held regularly with employee quality work groups. The object? To exchange ideas and get quality improvement suggestions from the people who are closest to the job. Management and employees are united in their dedication to constantly boosting quality. Extensive testing of every system occurs along the way. Something truly special results from this coordinated total quality team approach. A truly one-of-a-kind motorhome, American Eagle. Delivering unequaled quality because of the absolute commitment to quality by the people who build it. American Eagle, handcrafted by people who care. American Eagle owners applaud the quality, elegance, and attention to detail that go into American Eagle's interior appointments.
My wife loves the kitchen in this, and I like the bathroom. It's a big, roomy bathroom, and plenty of closet space, drawer space, a comfortable shower, nice place to shave.
All the oak floors, chlorine countertops, everything is just first class and no problem.
We have hardwood floors, we have tile floors all through the bathroom, and it's just like home.
I was pleased with the table and the extra 2 chairs which you could put away when you didn't need them.
I really enjoy having the washing machine and the dryer.
One thing about the cabinetry, of course, if you know woodworking, is the dovetailing on the cabinet on the drawers, and that is only done in very fine furniture.
I enjoy the view. I can see out all around. We have the touring windows on the side, so I'm able to look around more than he is, of course.
And it reminded me kind of a jet because, you know, you just gave it the gas and you never heard anything. You just started moving. So that was sort of unique there. And we like the leather seats.
Control panel's real nice. Everything's easy to get at, accessible.
Don't have to worry about climbing hills. This has plenty of power. The Eagle will really go upstairs. She'll climb 10% grade, just easy one hand.
I got good visibility. It rides great.
I don't really see any blind spots to speak of. You just sit like you're sitting on a throne, you know.
In the driver area, you enjoy the luxury of an unsurpassed view in all directions. The massive wraparound tinted windshield is only the beginning. The low-profile dash gives you the down-angle visibility and sense of control you want. You really feel close to the road. And check American Eagle's side-to-side view against the competition. Both the driver and passenger look out of unobstructed full-size side windows. Both are power-operated to open fully as well, so you can enjoy the fresh air. For added visibility, American Eagle's lower quarter windows let you see where you never could before, eliminating a nagging blind spot. Putting you in control, that's a crucial part of the American Eagle lifestyle. To put you even more in control, the smooth-shifting Allison 6-speed World transmission delivers the power you want in all driving situations. You'll appreciate the safety of its T-handle control. This lets you shift without taking your eyes off the road. The front compartment is packed with features that enhance your comfort and safety on the road and your entertainment pleasure while you're relaxing. All of these help contribute to the American Eagle lifestyle. To provide a perfect match to your lifestyle, American Eagle lets you choose from 2 highly livable and spacious floor plans. The 38J features a side aisle design. This visually and functionally separates the bath and stateroom from the rest of the coach for maximum privacy and separation of living areas. The 38A offers an extremely roomy walk-through bath and private dressing area, complete with a large hall wardrobe. Let's explore this exciting floor plan in more detail. For an extra spacious living room, many American Eagle owners choose the optional touring package. By eliminating the front overhead cabinets, this option dramatically opens up your living area, and it opens up your view. The oversized touring windows bring in more light and let you see more of the sights. They also bring in a refreshing breeze. Their torque design lets the fresh air in and keeps the rain out. The screen won't let the insects in either. Of course, the standard-sized living room windows are available if you want the extra overhead storage. Whichever living room configuration you choose, you're surrounded by high-end residential styling in a color scheme of your choice, all tastefully coordinated and matched to the exterior. You're also surrounded by quality sound when you're watching TV or using the VCR. A special selector box lets you listen to your TV sound out of the coach speakers. It also lets you choose which speakers to send your stereo music through. Whether you're watching a classic movie, listening to your favorite CD, or taking a nap after a glorious day outdoors, you can ease back in soothing comfort in the luxury swiveling recliner with footrest. Throughout the coach, luxury and handcrafted quality come through in every detail of the solid oak cabinets, from the mortise and tenon construction of the doors to the brass hardware with chrome accents. Few homes have their equal. A host of additional features and options make the American Eagle living room just right for your lifestyle. Moving into the dinette, the freestanding dinette is one of the options that American Eagle